In a quaint Vermont farmhouse, nestled among the rolling hills, lived an elderly man named Harold Miller. For the past 12 years, since the passing of his beloved wife, Margaret, Harold had filled his days with solitary routines, tending to his vegetable garden, feeding the local birds, and occasionally helping neighbors with their pets. The once vibrant home had grown quiet, echoing only the whispers of memories. Harold often reminisced about the laughter and warmth that had filled the house during his marriage. Margaret had been the heart of their home, her laughter ringing through the halls like music. She had a special way with animals, often bringing home strays and nursing them back to health. Harold had always admired her compassion, but after her passing, he found it difficult to fill the void she left behind. The garden they had tended together became a bittersweet reminder of happier times, and the chirping of birds that once brought him joy now felt like a haunting melody of solitude. One crisp October morning, as Harold sipped his coffee on the porch, he marveled at the sunrise painting the green mountains in brilliant autumn hues. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and the promise of winter. Little did he know that this day would change everything. Around noon, an unusual stillness enveloped the yard. The wind chimes hung silent, and even the usually boisterous blue jays were absent. A sense of unease settled in Harold's heart. He felt a strange tension in the air, as if nature itself was holding its breath. As dusk approached, he heard a soft whimpering from the back porch. Years of caring for animals had attuned his ears to the sounds of distress. With a flashlight in hand, Harold opened the back door. There, huddled against the woodpile, was a large German Shepherd mix. Her fur was matted with mud and blood, and she favored her right side. But what caught Harold's breath was the tiny bundle nestled between the dog's front paws. A small puppy, no more than a few weeks old. "Oh, sweet girl," Harold whispered, his heart breaking at the sight. The mother dog's eyes met his, filled with a desperate trust. She nudged the puppy forward slightly, then laid her head down, exhausted. Harold felt an overwhelming surge of compassion. He recognized the mother dog. He had seen her roaming the outskirts of nearby properties, rumored to have escaped from an abusive situation. "You came to the right place," he said softly, already moving with the efficiency of his years of experience. He called Dr. Thompson, the local vet, who had been a friend for decades. "Emily, I need you. Bring your emergency kit." While waiting, Harold sat on the porch steps, close enough to watch, but not so near as to frighten them. The mother dog's eyes never left him, filled with a trust that transcended species, a mother's final act of protection. He felt a connection to her, a shared understanding of pain and loss. When Dr. Thompson arrived, the full extent of the mother dog's injuries became clear. Deep lacerations ran along her flank, and she was severely dehydrated. "She's been carrying these injuries for at least 2 days, Emily muttered, gently cleaning the wounds. They moved the mother and puppy into Harold's mudroom, converting it into a makeshift treatment area. "She's a miracle," Harold said, watching as the mother dog licked her puppy with what little strength she had left. "And we're not going to waste it." The next few hours became a blur of focused activity. Emily's examination confirmed Harold's worst fears. The mother dog's injuries were severe, but the puppy seemed healthy, having been kept fed despite everything. They worked tirelessly through the night, and as dawn broke, the mother dog's breathing became labored. "Hold on, sweet girl," Harold whispered, stroking her head. "Your baby needs you. I need you." The dog's eyes glazed with fever, but she nudged her puppy closer to Harold, as if to say goodbye. "No," he said firmly. "This isn't goodbye. You're not just saving her anymore. You're saving both of us. My house has been too quiet for too long. We need you." Miraculously, the dog's breathing gradually steadied. By the time Emily arrived, Grace, as Harold decided to name her, had shown signs of improvement. "We have a fighter on our hands," Emily said, examining her patient. In the following weeks, Grace's recovery was slow but steady. Harold found joy in caring for her and the puppy, whom he named Hope. The house, once filled with silence, began to echo with laughter and life again. Neighbors, who had kept their distance since Margaret's passing, started dropping by, bringing donations and companionship. As Grace grew stronger, her gentle yet protective nature emerged. She would rest her head on Harold's knee in the evenings, reassuring herself that her trust had been well placed. One morning, Grace stood at the mudroom door, tail wagging, ready to explore the rest of the house. Harold smiled, knowing that this was a turning point. With each passing day, Grace and Hope filled Harold's home with laughter and love. They became a part of the community, helping children learn about kindness and empathy. Grace, now a natural therapy dog, seemed to know exactly how to approach fearful children, while Hope brought joy with her playful antics. The bond between Harold, Grace, and Hope deepened, creating a family that transcended the pain of the past. As winter settled in, Harold's farmhouse became known as the Grace Place. Children would stop by after school to read to the dogs or just talk. The transformation wasn't just in the visitors. Harold found himself healing too. The walls that had held his grief began to resonate with the sounds of joy and laughter. He started hosting small gatherings, inviting neighbors over for hot cocoa and stories by the fire. One evening, as snowflakes danced outside, Harold shared tales of his adventures with Margaret, interspersed with the new memories he was creating with Grace and Hope. The warmth of the fire mirrored the warmth in his heart, a feeling he thought he had lost forever. The dogs curled up at his feet, their presence a constant reminder of the love that could still flourish. As spring approached, Harold decided to expand his garden, planting flowers that Margaret had loved. He envisioned a vibrant space where children could play and families could gather. Grace and Hope would frolic among the blooms, their joy infectious. The garden became a symbol of renewal, a testament to the healing power of love and companionship. One sunny afternoon, while planting tulips, Harold noticed a group of children watching from the fence. He waved them over, inviting them to help. With laughter and dirt-streaked faces, they joined him, planting seeds of hope and friendship. Grace and Hope bounded around, their tails wagging, as if they understood the importance of this moment. As the seasons changed, so did Harold's life. He became an integral part of the community, organizing events to raise awareness about animal welfare and the importance of kindness. Grace and Hope were by his side, their presence a beacon of hope for those who had lost their way. The farmhouse, once a place of solitude, transformed into a hub of activity and love. Harold found purpose in his new role, and the laughter of children filled the air, mingling with the songs of birds returning for spring. He often reflected on how a single act of compassion had changed his life, reminding him that love could be found in the most unexpected places. As the years passed, Grace and Hope continued to thrive, their bond with Harold growing stronger. They became a family, each day a new adventure filled with love, laughter, and the promise of tomorrow. Harold knew that he had been given a second chance, a new beginning that had blossomed from the ashes of his grief. In the heart of Vermont, the farmhouse stood as a testament to resilience, love, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. Harold, Grace, and Hope had created a legacy of kindness that would echo through the generations, a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope could shine through, illuminating the path to healing and happiness. As summer rolled in, the garden flourished, bursting with colors that mirrored the joy in Harold's heart. The once quiet farmhouse was now alive with the sounds of laughter, barking, and the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. Harold often found himself sitting on the porch, watching Grace and Hope play in the yard, their antics bringing a smile to his face. The children from the neighborhood would come by, eager to help with the garden or simply to spend time with the dogs. One day, as Harold tended to the flowers, a little girl named Lily approached him, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Mr. Miller, can I help you plant some flowers?" she asked, her voice filled with excitement. Harold nodded, delighted by her enthusiasm. Together, they dug holes and placed the delicate seedlings into the earth, their laughter mingling with the chirping of birds overhead. "Do you think Grace and Hope will like these flowers?" Lily asked, glancing at the dogs, who were playfully chasing each other. "Absolutely," Harold replied, chuckling. "They love anything that makes the garden beautiful." As the days turned into weeks, the bond between Harold and the children deepened. They began to organize small events in the garden, such as picnics and storytelling sessions. Grace and Hope became the stars of these gatherings, their gentle nature endearing them to everyone. The dogs would sit patiently as the children read stories aloud, their heads resting on the little ones' laps, creating a sense of comfort and safety. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Harold decided to host a special event, a garden celebration. He invited the entire community, hoping to share the joy that Grace and Hope had brought into his life. The preparations began in earnest, with children helping to decorate the garden with handmade banners and colorful flowers. On the day of the celebration, the garden was transformed into a magical space filled with laughter, music, and the aroma of delicious food. Neighbors brought dishes to share, and the air was filled with the sounds of chatter and joy. Harold stood at the center of it all, his heart swelling with gratitude as he watched the community come together. As the sun set, Harold gathered everyone around for a toast. "Thank you all for being here today," he began, his voice steady, but filled with emotion. "This garden, this home, has become a place of healing and love, and it's all thanks to the incredible bond we share. Grace and Hope have shown us the power of compassion, and I am grateful for each of you who have become a part of our family." The crowd erupted in applause, and Grace and Hope barked happily, as if they understood the significance of the moment. Harold felt a warmth spread through him, a sense of belonging that he had longed for since Margaret's passing. As the evening wore on, children played games, and families shared stories under the twinkling stars. Harold watched as Grace and Hope mingled among the guests, their tails wagging, bringing smiles to everyone they encountered. It was a night filled with joy, laughter, and the promise of new beginnings. In the months that followed, the garden continued to thrive, and so did the relationships Harold had built. He became a mentor to the children, teaching them about gardening, kindness, and the importance of caring for animals. Grace and Hope were always by his side, their presence a constant reminder of the love that had blossomed from a moment of compassion. As autumn approached, Harold decided to expand his efforts beyond the garden. He began volunteering at the local animal shelter, helping to care for abandoned pets and advocating for their adoption. Grace and Hope accompanied him, their gentle demeanor soothing the frightened animals. Harold found purpose in this work, knowing that he was making a difference in the lives of both the animals and the families who would adopt them. One day, while at the shelter, Harold met a young boy named Ethan, who had come to look for a dog. Ethan was shy and hesitant, his eyes filled with uncertainty. Harold knelt down beside him, introducing him to Grace and Hope. "These two are the best friends you could ever have," he said, watching as the dogs approached Ethan, their tails wagging in greeting. With Harold's encouragement, Ethan slowly reached out to pet Grace, who leaned into his touch, sensing his need for comfort. The boy's face lit up with a smile, and in that moment, Harold knew that a bond was forming. Ethan eventually adopted a small terrier mix from the shelter, and Harold continued to support him, offering guidance on training and care. The two families, Harold's and Ethan's, grew close, often gathering for playdates. In the garden, Grace and Hope became mentors to the new puppy, teaching him the ropes of being a beloved pet. The garden buzzed with life, laughter, and the joyful barks of the dogs, creating a vibrant atmosphere that echoed the spirit of community. As winter approached once more, Harold decided to host a holiday gathering, inviting everyone who had become a part of his life since Grace and Hope had entered it. He decorated the farmhouse with twinkling lights and festive ornaments, transforming it into a warm and inviting space. The aroma of freshly baked cookies filled the air, and the sound of carols played softly in the background. On the day of the gathering, families arrived with dishes to share, and the house quickly filled with laughter and chatter. Harold felt a sense of fulfillment as he watched the children play with Grace and Hope, their joy infectious. The dogs, now beloved members of the community, reveled in the attention, their tails wagging as they greeted each guest. As the evening progressed, Harold gathered everyone around the fireplace, ready to share stories and reflect on the past year. "This has been a year of transformation for all of us," he began, his voice warm and inviting. "Grace and Hope have not only brought joy into my life but have also helped us all find a sense of community and connection. I am grateful for each of you who have become a part of this journey." The room erupted in applause, and Grace and Hope barked in agreement, their eyes shining with happiness. Harold felt a wave of gratitude wash over him, realizing how far he had come since that fateful day when he found Grace and her puppy. As the night wore on, the children took turns sharing their favorite memories from the year, recounting moments spent in the garden, the adventures with the dogs, and the lessons they had learned about kindness and compassion. Harold listened intently, his heart swelling with pride and joy. When it was time for the festivities to wind down, Harold handed out small gifts to each child, a seed packet for the garden, a reminder of the growth they had all experienced together. "Plant these in the spring, and let them remind you of the love and friendship we've cultivated here," he said, his voice filled with warmth. As the guests began to leave, Harold felt a sense of peace envelop him. The farmhouse, once a place of solitude, had transformed into a home filled with love, laughter, and the promise of new beginnings. Grace and Hope snuggled close to him, their presence a comforting reminder of the journey they had taken together. In the months that followed, the bond between Harold, Grace, Hope, and the community continued to flourish. They organized more events, including a spring festival to celebrate the garden's growth and the joy of companionship. The festival became an annual tradition, drawing families from all around to partake in the festivities, share stories, and enjoy the beauty of nature. As the years passed, Harold found himself reflecting on the incredible journey that had unfolded since Grace and Hope had entered his life. He had discovered a renewed sense of purpose, a deep connection to his community, and a love that transcended the pain of loss. The farmhouse stood as a testament to resilience, a place where healing and hope thrived. One sunny afternoon, as Harold tended to the garden, he noticed a group of children playing nearby. They were laughing and chasing each other, their joy echoing through the air. Grace and Hope joined in the fun, their playful spirits igniting the laughter even more. Harold smiled, knowing that this was the legacy he had created, a legacy of love, kindness, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the garden, Harold took a moment to appreciate the beauty of the life he had built. He felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought him here, for the love that had blossomed from a moment of compassion, and for the family he had created with Grace and Hope. In that moment, surrounded by laughter, love, and the vibrant colors of the garden, Harold knew that he had found his way back to happiness. The heartwarming tale of Grace and Hope was not just a story of rescue. It was a story of healing, connection, and the enduring power of love that could light the darkest of paths.